Hi,
Rodrigue,
Jerry. Good morning.
good morning. Rodrigue, are you there?
Yes. Hello, Jerry. Hello, Mahreen.
Hello.
Good.
Marin, so let us know when we can get started, and then you can take it forward with the introduction.
Okay, I think we can start the session now.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Are you able to share your screen?
Yes, we'll do from my end. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So, uh, so Mahreen, you start.
Okay. Okay, let's start the session. So thank you everyone for joining today's session, which is about Let's Talk Tableau. We'll talk about the use cases on banking and financial services. And our speakers, Jerry Paul and Rodrigue Sad, will be conducting the session. So a little bit about Reddington Value. Reddington Value helps partners in the channel to deliver the most optimal IT solutions to their customers in Middle East and Africa. On to the next slide. Okay, so today's agenda, we will be talking about a brief introduction about BNB, who we are, and then we'll talk about why to choose Tableau and Tableau's effects and services and the banking and financial services, the use cases and demos. And then we'll also talk about Tableau embedded analytics. At the end, we'll have a small Q&A session to answer any questions you might have. So over to you, speakers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you all for joining us today. I am Rodrigue Saade, a regional business development manager from BNB. I've been working on data analytics for the last 9 years till today. And as BNB, we're partners with Tableau and we're with Reddington, and we're very happy to be in this webinar today. As Marine said, I will start with a small introduction about BNB to present who is BNB and show you how we can help you in moving forward towards innovation from the future. So as a global system integrator, we provide solutions that help our clients transform their business and create unseen opportunities. Our innovative services deliver efficient and effective solutions anytime, anywhere, and across any industry. By putting at your service around 17 offices across the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, an experience gained from 3,000 customers worldwide, and different divisions. Each one specialized in an area of the digital transformation, starting by BNB Direct, specialized in enterprise content management and CRM and business process management, moving forward to BNB Drive in advanced analytics and intelligent automation, to BNB Move towards human capital enablement, enterprise mobility solutions, with BNB Reach and the Intelligent Enterprise Network, data centers and IoT, and BNB Smart, a vocational tech training center, providing experience trainings to youth and professionals. I should also mention BNB area specialized in augmented reality and virtual reality, and B&B Digital Health that enables medical facilities. So a closer look at our solutions, in fact, constant innovation, which is our driving force. For instance, in BNB Drive, who is driving this webinar today, we look after the innovations in intelligent automation and advanced analytics. We understand data journey end to end, from descriptive analytics to predictive to prescriptive analytics, with all the value that it brings and all the complexity. And we empower enterprises through solutions in business intelligence, in advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, automated machine learning, customer data platform, RPA, hyper automation, and in big data. So to sum up, let's have a look at BNB in numbers as of today. We are serving the market since 1995, so eventually we're 26-year-old with 3,000 industry leading customers, 250 plus tech experts, and I should mention our partnerships, which exceed the 100 partners who are leaders in their field. So this is the introduction of BNB. We invite you to join us on our social media, and we'll be honored and pleased to have you as part of our network. Thank you so much, and we move now to Gary Paul, who will start the Why Tableau.
Thank you, Rodrigue. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope it's going to be visible. It'll be done in a minute. All right. I believe all of you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, visible to me.
All right. So thanks again. So like Rodrigue rightly said, we are in a market, and we're in a market where BI and analytics is gaining utmost importance for every other company. So I'll talk a little bit about BI, and especially today we are here to speak about Tableau. So I'll spend 2 minutes on what the platform is all about. Now, since its inception, one of the things that I've quickly learned about Tableau is that Tableau is a mission-driven company. And what is that mission? It's simply these 7 words. We help people see and understand data. Now, that's to put in layman terms. So Tableau disrupted the entire business intelligence and analytics industry based on this very simple mission. So it's always end user centric. And in the course of the session that we have today, where Rodrigue will demonstrate an end user journey, it'll be even more clear. Now let's address the very basic question. Why Tableau? And especially in the age of data that we are in, how do organizations thrive in the age of data? Now, as per a report or a study conducted by Forrester, it is so known that a data-driven or insights-driven company grow at least 7 times faster than an opinion-driven company. So that means that every other company in today's world want to become data-driven. However, that is the fact. Only 1/3 of those companies aspiring to be a data-driven company become one. So that means that there are some roadblocks or challenges on their way to become data-driven. So let's try to address or try to understand what these common themes are or common roadblocks are that we see across different organizations. So what gets in their way? Firstly, some people have access to data, and some people are empowered to ask the right questions. Now, these are mostly workers who lack technical ability to use data in answering their questions. So that would mean that the senior management, the middle management, the decision makers, they're not empowered enough or confident enough to ask their own questions. They have to be dependent on their analysts or the IT team who does the groundwork. Secondly, only some data is available. When I say some data is available, it means that you do have a lot of data out there which you could analyze and tell your story with. But when it comes to scaling it, you're not able to properly curate the data. And very often you need to leverage all kinds of technologies to do that. So it becomes a very humongous task for organizations to curate their data. And lastly, only some help is available out there. When I say some help, it means that you don't have a vibrant community, you don't have a forum, you don't have easily available resources to help you through the journey to achieve a data-driven company. Now, these are the common themes again that we come across with different customers that we have seen so far. And this is the gaps that we're talking about. Now, this is exactly where Tableau comes into the picture in filling that gap. Because Tableau again helps people and organizations become more data driven because it's simply just analytics that people love to use. It's an integrated platform that's easier to start and scale, as well as it's a trusted leader in analytics. Now, we're just not talking here. Tableau actually walks the talk. What I mean by that is, if you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant, right, for the last 9 years in a row, Tableau has been a leader. So it's 9 years of consecutive success that Tableau has achieved with respect to business intelligence and analytics. And it's just not this quadrant. Tableau is the most preferred brand in the Gartner Peer Insights and the Customer Choice Awards, and various accolades that Tableau has won over the years, so as to speak. With that, I'll hand it over to Rodrigue, who will take you through a more specific BFSI domain use case, challenges, and how we can solve that using Tableau. So over to you, Rodrigue.
Thank you, Jerry. So once again, I'm sharing green from my end. Please let me know once you can see it. Jerry, it's visible?
Not yet. Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, perfect, perfect. So let's see Tableau in action now, specifically in banking and financial services. Eventually, banking and financial services as industry, we know very well that it is the backbone of the economy and one of the most data intensive of all industries, having a wealth data on customers, on pricing, on credit bureau, macroeconomics. Although banks aren't starting from scratch, as they remained at the forefront of analytics, there is still a big room for improvement, a lot of challenges to overcome, a big value that can be from this data. These heightened concerns of industry, in fact, are driven by three major pillars. Starting with analytics reform, we can historically the investment in analytics in banks had been driven by regulators and the requirements of those regulators, such as Basel II, IFRS 9, IFRS, etc. The banks did what regulators asked without even examining how this is applicable to their actual business, their business practices, and the risk assessment for pricing, for portfolio management, underwriting, etc. In the crisis mode, especially in those last 2 years, the crisis mode showed that these analytical techniques may not have been as effective as needed, especially in measuring the risks. So banks found themselves obliged to revamp how they are driving analytics and improve their approaches to measurement. Another pillar experience. Banks today are looking for a personalized relationship with customers. It's expected to play a big role in attracting customers and retaining them. However, recent studies, for example, by Deal, show that a small percentage of banks have enough capabilities in this area. Banks need to show a higher level of understanding of their customers' needs, personal circumstances, and get a greater insight into real-time customer behavior and across every channel. Time, the new restrictions on the fee income, on the makes it even more important to understand the economics of each customer and find ways to gain wallet share. So banks should rethink how they segment and target their customers from another perspective, we look at related challenges, which are, let's say, which must be addressed to cope with those three key drivers. So eventually, for us to understand the challenges, in fact, today we chose to take an example. We chose to zoom in to one of the most impactful roles in a bank. We'll take Bassem as an example from the finance department. He has a daily task to prepare a summary report. The summary report is about the bank portfolio, the total deposit, the investments, their variance versus previous period, drilled down by region, branch, line of business. At 8 a.m., Bassem will start exporting data from the bank sources, the core banking, the data warehouse, etc. He's exporting them in Excel format. And then he's working on them to consolidate, moving to file, arranging outside any system, not to mention the hassle of data volume, a big data volume, and the specific exceptions, like on specific accounts, on specific rules. Then he won't be able to share the insights with execs before midday. And if he's sharing them, he's sharing tens of reports in a static tabular format. So in summary, here are the raised challenges. Bassem has more than 50% of his time preparing reports rather than analyzing business insights. Working on Excel files, which raises a big question mark on governance, on compliance, on human error. And the data is presented in a static tabular format, no informative visuals, no stories, and limited drill down capabilities. Moving forward also, we look at it from another perspective. Hadil is from the credit risk department. She has a daily task to look after the portfolio. She relies a lot on data from the daily summary report that is being Bassem. She wants to confirm with him the total loans volume, for example, the NPL, a non-performing loan, etc. So she's able to finalize her task before midday, which shows the big departments in that interdependency. And also imagine the hassle if a discrepancy is found between the total loans that is calculated by Hadil versus the one that is calculated by Bassem. Moving forward, once Hadil and Bassem finishes their task, they share the reports with Mr. Amr. Mr. Amr is the CEO, and he has to take decisions based on these reports. He's receiving the data very late in a static format. If he finds out, for example, that an unexpected drop in deposits took place, he has to raise the question back to Bassem, who shall execute the whole cycle again to find the reason behind this drop, in which branch it happened, the line of business, the customer account, etc. And Mr. Amr is dependent on for him to understand and take the appropriate action. To sum up, imagine this is happening for tens of reports and across multiple business users in the bank. They experience the following challenges. Analysis capabilities are limited to selected users like Hadil and Bassem, with lack of empowerment around data to execs and decision makers like the CFO or Mr. Amr, the CEO, etc. Moreover, delays are faced, and there is ability to move quickly because of the manual reconciliation, the data flow, the department's interdependency, etc. Not to mention the data at risk. In fact, the fear of data due to inadequate governance, siloed data not coming from a single source, etc. All of this, in fact, leads to hampered decision making, not driven by data. Executives become kind of handcuffed. They are unable to set the data culture in their bank or in the company. So, propose solution to overcome these challenges and help you become data-driven. For us to do so, start first with today's demo. Let's consider now that Mr. Amr, the CEO, Hadil, and Bassem are empowered to do their analytics with Tableau. In this demo, we will see how this would help them. So in fact, start with Hadil. Hadil receives every day the credit risk overview. She should do analysis. She should do analytics on top of it and take the appropriate action. Just a second. Great. Okay. Just to confirm, Jerry, you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, Rodrigo.
Okay. So eventually, Hadil should go over the credit risk application, doing the analytics. She can see the total assets and liabilities and expected loss for three main products, which are the credit card, the personal loan, the small business loan. Looking at this, it's growing over time. And it shows a year-over-year growth of 45%. Highlighting on it, I can see that for the credit card, it's increasing, the personal loan also, the small business loan. The highest volume, which is normal, is for the small business loan with the 679 million Saudi riyal. Okay, but also the liabilities are growing. Eventually, that's why it's highlighted in red. An alert. The loss are growing. Also, it's highlighted. Now, imagine, for example, we want to understand a little bit the debt to income ratio over time, or let's say by the ratio. We can see the bank does not allow a debt to income ratio higher than 36%, while, sorry, 36, while we have customer accounts that have this debt to income ratio. So we'll select them and directly we'll see how their volume, the volume is spread, how many accounts they are, the accounts, and how they are distributed over the banks and the branches of the bank. For example, in Rafah, Ayun, and Khamis Mushait, and we see here a very high risk value, which is highlighted in red in Al Kharj. But having seen this, let's move forward, for example, to understand a little bit about more about the accounts. We'll go here, and now we'll go to the small business just to see which loans and which customers have those debt to income ratio, which is higher than 30. So eventually, the first thing that shows up here is those accounts, very high debt to income ratio, has also either 90 days delinquency or 120 days delinquency. So it is already an issue. We can see each account when it started, its risk score, and the risk score eventually is high, showing risk scores, for example, here 81%, even more than 40%, more than 60%, 50%, etc. And looking also at the years remaining, we can see, for example, we have like accounts that have less than 3 years remaining, which is fine. Greater than 20 years for some. But there are the big bulk is for that are almost getting done. Their years remain, they're even less than a year remaining, which is an issue. Or let's look at the ones that in 20th of September will be finalized. So also they have less than a year remaining. So I highlighted them. Once I highlighted them, I want to inform Abdurrahman, who is a from the credit risk, in fact. So I'll just select Abdurrahman. I will tell him, please have a look and take action on the selected account. I take a screenshot of it, and then I post it to Abdurrahman. Once I post it, Abdurrahman will receive an email showing this screenshot, and once he clicks on it, he will come straight this similar visual that you can see here. And not only for the small business, this happens the same to the loan, this happens the same to the credit card. On and so forth. Now that we've seen kind of ready-made dashboards that Hadil is working on, let's consider that she wants now to do analytics that are more in a self-service. She wants to see how the total loans portfolio is behaving. And let's say in different segments, like the business, the commercial, the mortgage, the home office, and so on. This is from a side. And from another side, how this is happening the days overdue. So for us to do so, we'll go to edit mode. Here, we'll consider that Hadid Explorer, okay, she's getting the data already in a data set that is pretty much prepared, and we'll see the details about this at a later stage. Now she wants to drive the analytics. She creates a new sheet and starts asking, what's the total of loans that I have in my portfolio? In fact, it's not the total, it's the average amount, because I'm doing that is more related about the distribution rather than the totals. I can see here, for example, the average amount of loan is $1.8 thousand. Okay, now I want to see it by segment. So when I just double click, I can see by segment. I will arrange it like sorted decreasingly, showing that the business loans are the highest average of loans that I have. And let's change the orientation, which shows a higher value. Now that I have the average loan by segment, I want to see how does the days overdue correlate with this average amount. So instead of having it as a visual, let's get it into the coloring. And then, okay, it has to come to the color, in fact. Here it is. So I can see now that my analytics are I colored by the days overdue. But looking at the numbers, they are not logical. They must not be a sum of. It has to be an average. So when I click of a button, I go and change it to average. And now I can see that the numbers are more logical with an average of days overdue between 46 and 48. To have a clearer picture about that, as higher the days is, as higher the risk is. So eventually I highlight this in the coloring, and that's why I will select another an orange, or sorry, an orange to blue coloring scheme, showing that the higher is in orange for an alert, the lower is in blue for a more normal situation. And this is where it shows that in the business loan, I have an issue with a very high days overdue and a very high average amount of loan. In the home mortgage, similar, and in the small business. To see in which region does this happen, just to dig deep and be able to point out to the issues. I take the region in a drag and drop manner and put it. Once I have it in this way, I can see, for example, that in the central region, the commercial have an issue. In the east region, the home mortgage have an issue. Although, if you could recall, the home office or the home does not have this big problem. But looking at it in a drill down, you can see that it has a problem in a specific, let's say, region, and not in all the regions. For the business loan in the West, it has the same issue. So in fact, let's dig deep in each of these issues. We'll just select the commercial in central and keep it only. Once I have it selected as a filter and filtered, in fact, just bring in the branch and put them here. So I'm drilling down to the branch level, okay? And not only this, I want to sort my data based on the average days overdue. So I want to see which branch has the highest average days overdue. And this is where I see the 4340. It's a branch that has a big average loan amount and a big average days overdue. Just to understand better about it, I can just select it, and I can see that I can view the data and details. I select this data. This is the summary that I could see, a commercial with a branch central, 4,000 average amount, and 94 average days overdue. But I want to see the full data. So I select full data and show all the columns to find out that this is the borrower 7335, which is causing me this whole trouble. With a rate 1 and the original date was in 2018. So in fact, I could the lowest level to the granular level of data in a single, like a couple of selections. But not only this, now Neil has to keep an eye on this branch, or even the credit officer, etc. That's why she will rename this sheet like overview, and she saves it. Once she has those sheet saved in the workbook, she goes back to the workbook. I will show you why we're going back to this workbook now, to understand a little bit about some more capabilities in sharing and collaboration. So now she sees how this is selected as per her analytics. She can bring in an alert and build an alert on top of this, just to know that whenever anything this visual alert. Or much more than this, she can subscribe to have an image by email from this visual at a specific date that she sets. For example, when date refreshes, or on a selected schedule, for example, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, daily at 8:40 a.m., etc. This is how she gets a notification, and she can even add as much as she wants from her team, herself, the credit team, etc. So eventually, this is how she can subscribe. But not only this, in fact, there is one more capability. You see that this is selected as a branch. We can create a metric on top of it. And when I say metric, it is the selection. It shows me every time that is it's refreshed, how this number is moving, either increasing or decreasing. It shows me about which account I'm talking and the filters that I did. And I can write description just to understand what's happening. So I'm talking about the amount of loans in branch 33040, okay, for commercial loans. And then I create this metric. Once I have it, I can go, and now I see all my dashboard, either the sheets that are created inside it, or the data sources that we worked on, and when it was refreshed, or the metrics. And when I say metrics, as you can see, it will show you the trend of refresh and all the numbers that you get. So this is how Hadil can do analytics and self-service, can use the ready-made dashboards, can share and collaborate on these numbers that she got, etc. First example, we have seen Hadil and the credit risk team, how they are working. Now we'll move forward to see with Mr. Amr. This is an idea or an example of the daily summary report, which you can see. Mr. Amr opens it. He can see first a navigation bar moving him to all the applications that he has in hand. The portfolio, which is in front of us, the profitability analysis, the different risk, dashboards, the capital adequacy, AML, and so on. And if we look at the below, we can see the total deposit volume, how it has been growing versus last month. Or for example, let's move to last year so that we compare it versus last year. It's growing, so it's in green. In terms of percentage, we can see the trend. We can see the cost of fund in local currency, the average interest rate, cash reserve, etc. How it's moving versus last year, its growth. And there is highlight on specific KPIs here, which are selected by the CEO. So if he selects the mortgage loans, he can see the trend. If he selects the liquidity ratio, also the spread, the yields, etc. Since he's seeing the deposits, he wants to drill down, he just select on the deposit details. And once he selects them, he will be able to see more details about them. Just waiting for it to be loaded so that we can see the deposit details by line of business, as you can see here, the corporate loan, for example, even the retail loans, other types of business, of line of business and financial sectors, by products. So we can see how the savings account are growing, the term deposits are growing, the current accounts, and we are able to compare it versus market share. For example, I have the savings account here. I just select the savings account, and I can see how is my performance versus the whole business sector or the whole banking sector that I have. So in fact, this is how Mr. Amr will see his data, how this is how it will be prepared. And a click of a button, he's able to drill down even up to the account level or up to the total volumes. This is in brief the demo. Now let's get back to the presentation to finalize what are the findings that we could see today. In fact, in the demo, we have seen ready-made dashboards about credit risk and daily summary. We've seen the cost of funds, we've seen the key performance indicators for the finance, etc. These dashboards are updated automatically straight after the bank's end of day, okay, and they are made ready for consumption after this this reload directly. So Mr. Amr is coming at the beginning of the day, he already has the data in hand. We also have driven self-service analytics, which you could see with Hadil and the credit team to take appropriate action. We shared the insights through different types of sharing, through alerts, through subscription, through comments and texting, etc. And all of this is happening in a on Tableau server, which is well governed and well traceable and audited. If we do a step back also to the backend, we see how Tableau also helps us in preparing this data. So we are connecting to the core banking, to the data warehouse, in fact, any type of database, and we're joining all of this data into a single data layer, which plays a single point of truth, the role of a single point of truth, and showing several data marts that can be used by the business user whenever needed. And you can see here, for example, the customer accounts, the transactions, and so on and so forth. In the same concept, this data layer can be extended to build advanced analytics use cases. So we use these data marts in data science and machine learning and AI to predict credit card transactions, credit card transaction fraud, loans default, cash balance, customer churn, and so on and so forth. Also, the solution offers analytics for every department, mainly in retail and consumer banking, in finance, in the risk, in investment portfolio, etc. We aim to help each department in spreading data literacy, empowering business users in their analytics journey, and supporting execs with their data-driven decision-making. So if we look at each department, here is a glimpse of the analytics in hand, showing in retail banking, for example, the customer behavior trends in terms of loans, deposits, etc. The profit margin by customer. We look at analytics for the performance of the branch, the behavior of the products, etc. In finance, we have seen the daily summary report, an example of it, in fact. But also we offer further analytics on cost of fund, on KPIs such the IRR, the earnings before taxes. We dig deep in the liquidity ratio. We can even drive consolidation across the whole bank's affiliates. For the risk, eventually we cover all the aspects of risks, the credit risk, the market risk, the liquidity, and we extract information on NPL loans, on recovery loans, etc. Similarly, in other departments, in fact, we monitor the assets under management, the investment portfolio, the SARS in AML with all its flow, the project planning and governance for the operations team also, etc. So the solution benefits are countless, in fact. And aligned with the key drivers that we mentioned in the beginning, here are the gain benefits. First, we talk about a fast track to insights, which help in the analytics reform. With ready-made dashboards, self-service analytics, this helps the bank respond to regulatory inquiries in analytics, but also to monitor the business behavior and ensure it is aligned with the strategic goals and the tactical daily business practices. The customer data is available in real time and ready for analytics to address customer experience and personalized relationship. This helps retail banking, marketing, customer relationships to understand customer behavior across every channel and the customer needs in real time. They would be able to become proactive in their actions, and this is very important to gain wallet share in the more profitable segments. And finally, overcoming the operational challenges through a centralized data at your fingertip in a single point of truth, which joins the data from duplicative systems, move from manual reconciliation to fully automated consolidation, and reduce cost by centralizing reporting and analytics. Additionally, here are the benefits that we overcome, that helps us to overcome the data challenges. It helps the organizations become data-driven and business users become empowered with self-service analytics. At the same time, data consolidation is ensured being in a governed and audited platform. And we showed a lot of extended capabilities in sharing and collaboration to reach out faster decision making. But one last thing, the key success factor to ensure that those benefits are achieved comes from having the right partner at your side. The partner should be experienced in banking, having executed similar previous solutions. He also should have a deep understanding of the data journey. So from descriptive to predictive to prescriptive analytics, being able to provide end-to-end solutions, including data management, BI, AI, big data, automation, whatever. Not to mention the importance of having on board the leaders in the market as partners. As we can see today, the partnership between Tableau and BNB. So he should also be able to cope with the bank strategy and offer tailor-made solutions based on his need. As such, he should provide the needed change management plans, the success plans, the center of excellence plans that are needed. And finally, he should be able to provide the required workforce from banking consultants who work in analytics to certified data scientists, data engineers, and BI engineers. This is in brief the presentation about our solution in banking and with examples, with demo, etc. Now, what we have seen today applies similarly to other industries and other, let's say, line of businesses, even financial services, or let's talk about distribution, FMCG, insurance. We work almost in the same plan, in the same direction. Now, we go back to you, Jerry, to cover the embedded analytics in Tableau, which is an innovative let's say, a topic nowadays. Jerry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rodrigue. And thanks for that wonderful demo. And that was really, I could really see the end user journey being so simple. So let's spend some time, maybe probably like 5 minutes, under 5 minutes. This would be an introduction to embedded analytics. So I'll start sharing my screen. Rodrigue, if you could give me the presenter permission. Yeah, I got that.
It's fine now.
Yeah, just checking with you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is visible.
All right. So let's have a sneak peek into embedded analytics. So I'll try to cover the what, why, and how. And again, for the record, this is just an introduction so that we believe we are able to build that curiosity in you to explore more. So let's define it first. So what is embedded analytics? It is defined as data and analytics that is integrated seamlessly with the content or service being delivered to the end user wherever they are. Now that is important because irrespective of whether the user is on a web page or on another application or service, or say a mobile application, the idea is to deliver the same data and analytics to the end user on that platform. So in this way, the end user is not having to go outside their experience, whatever experience they are in, and they can access the same reports and analytics seamlessly. In order to just understand this further, I'll try to take you through a simple demo on what embedded would look like. So let's assume that this is my customer portal, my banking portal, and as a user, I'm going to sign in. I push in my credentials, and I should be getting all my monthly and weekly reports that I monitor. I can see that on the navigation pane, I can navigate to the reports that I monitor here. If I take up this one as an example, which is the current asset summary, you could see that this is my interactive dashboard on my web portal. Now, the way I want you to think about this web page is in two parts. One is the Tableau environment, which is this dashboard, and your own custom portal, your web portal. Now, the ability of embedded analytics it lies in the fact that you're able to talk to each other, right? Um, uh, so what that means is that firstly, all the interactivity within Tableau is intact here as well. You can see I'm doing a drill down to my dashboard within my dashboard so as to discover more data points. So that is intact. And it's not just that, all the capabilities of exporting data, drilling down, filtering, which necessarily need not come from your Tableau dashboard. It could lie just within the portal. And using the embedded code, we are able to talk to each other. You can also see I can easily navigate between views and that interactivity is intact. What I'm really excited to show you here as well is the self-service analytics piece, and I'll take it one notch higher. I really like to show you the capability of NLP that we have within Tableau. It is as simple as asking away your questions on Google, right? For example, in this banking scenario, let's say I want to see what are my average loan amount across time. So I'm really looking for a trend here, and I could still drill down on various data elements. So if I want to have a look at a weekly level analysis, I could do that. If I wanted to break that down across regions, I again simply type in that question here. So I just write across regions, and Tableau is able to interpret that very well, the user's query, and give you back the corresponding visual. That's cool, right? Now, as an end user who is not technical per se, this is the heights of a self-service, so as to speak. So that was just this is just a very simple demo. I hope you understand what embedded simply means. It's just within your portal, wherever you are, right? So let's get back to the presentation. Now let's talk about why customers would want to embed their analytics on their portal. What do they get out of it? What's the value add that customers get? Now, more often than not, customers and organizations cannot afford time and resources to create separate solutions. And now, then it's definitely a question of buy versus build. What approach do you take? Now, is there any benefit to go with a buy approach rather than a build approach, wherein you spend a lot of resource and time with your developers? Now, according to a study, so far we've learned that if you go with a buy approach, it's 20% faster time to market. It's 60% higher growth in terms of cross-sell and upsell revenue. and you will see twice greater improvement in customer renewal rate. Now that study itself substantiates the fact that why an embedded solution would benefit you. Now, just like how Rodrigue demonstrated for a banking use case, you saw him navigate to different dashboards, and end user is doing their own analytics on the Tableau server. In this case, you don't have to navigate anywhere else. It would be within your banking domain, your banking customer portal. Now, to talk about how to monetize your data, there are a couple of examples I'll just like to share or highlight with you. It could be, you can think of Amazon as a customer for that matter. You could, you know, being an e-commerce platform, one thing that you want to do is drive traffic to your site. So one example that you could think of is to provide a better user experience to your customers with self-service analytics so that they drive more traffic into your websites, which essentially means there is more customer engagement within your platform and hence the revenue. Or perhaps you're looking to sell data and insights as a package as such. This could very well fit within a banking industry. Or perhaps you're just looking to leverage the features of Tableau, like NLP, like the features that Rodrigue just demonstrated to your customers at a premium model. And the options are endless, wherein you can monetize your data. Now, how do you embed Tableau? Speaking of embedded analytics, you need to be well aware of how do you do that in the first place. Also, we have spoken about having a vibrant community and user forum to help you through the same. There are essentially three elements in the recipe for embedding Tableau. The first one is the authentication. So this should ensure that the user has a seamless experience. So when you log in your customer portal, just like how I did in the demo, I shouldn't have the necessity to log in again to access my dashboard. So that simply means it should have a single sign-on experience, right? And of course, making the embed code possible, you can leverage various APIs like the JavaScript API and REST API. I'm not going to deep dive into how these APIs work and what the code is all about, but all these resources on how to do it is pretty plain and clear and simple. It's available for you openly in the open source GitHub. It's available on the Tableau portal, and it's available for everyone who wants to start their embedded journey. Now, we'll share these links with you. These are resources that's available on the portal and GitHub. So we'll make sure that you get the same. That was just an intro to embedded analytics. I just wanted to highlight that. Now, before we move on to Q&A, I'd really like to cover some common questions that we often hear from customers. The very popular question being how Tableau differentiates itself from its competitors. And the answer to that is evident in the Gartner reports and the other companies who have studied the BI space. Now, one thing I'd like to highlight is that when a research was conducted on total cost of ownership, which basically implies the cost that a company would incur while buying and deploying the solution, Tableau has an edge over its competitors. It is shown that there's a 26% reduction in TCO as compared with its competitors. That's one thing that I wanted to highlight. Now, is Tableau really the market leader? The Gartner reports talks for itself. Is Tableau for everyone? That's simply the mission of the company, which is how we started. Which is how the company was founded on its core mission. It's for everyone within the organization. And also, customers nowadays, they would want to have their field sales representatives, as an example, to be well versed with updated numbers. As an example, Rodrigue showed you how you can create a metric on the dashboard and monitor the metric that's important to you. You have a mobile version, we call it Tableau Mobile, and you can monitor these key important metrics on your mobile so that it's just analytics in your pocket wherever you are, so as to speak. With that, I'll move on to Q&A. We'll have our contacts, email addresses all sent to you over mail. Actually, we'll put that right across in the chat box so you have access to it. So with that, we'll move to Q&A. Any questions? I think I'll stop sharing now.
Or Jerry, if you want, it would be more helpful if we share it in an email after the session.
All right, that works as well.
It will be
Okay.
better, I guess.
Okay, done. We can do that. Marian, I think that's it. We can wrap up the session.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Jerry and Rodrigue for the session. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Have a good day. Bye.